Okay, today we're going to talk about agents for personal branding. Personal branding is not what you have to say about yourself. It's about what other people have to say and how you amplify that trust and credibility before they ever get to you. But we're going to talk about how to do that with agents. So by the end of this session, you're going to understand the framework of how to leverage the things that you were missing, how you should reposition yourself using these agents for things that you didn't even need to know that you needed to do, and some simple things that your agents can implement right now today to be able to grow your personal brand in a measurable, effective, non-vanity, I have more followers, Lamborghini sort of way. If that sounds good to you, let's dive in. I'm Dennis Yu, I'm your marketing mechanic, and every week we have a new episode here where I sketch on the whiteboard as a human being with no AI, but based on real experience, not Velveeta cheese, real cheese from Switzerland, and you can implement what we have. I try to teach everything in a repeatable way that isn't dependent upon the latest fad or trend, but will still be valid a couple of years from now, which is hard to say in the world of AI. Here's what happens with your brand. Most people, they have themselves here, and they think that in order to get more money from a potential customer, here's money. I wish I had green here to show the dollars, but they think there's all this stuff I've got to say about myself. I'm the best, I take care of customers, I really care, I have the lowest price, I do the best quality, and it's everything blah, 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 blah about what they say. It's like the Charlie Brown teacher, wah, wah. Doesn't matter what you say, you might as well beat your own chest. Everything happens before people actually come to you, before the customer buys. And actually, one more thing. What I also see customers doing, clients doing, people, service providers, where your reputation and authority differentiate you from the 100 other people do the same thing, is they create these videos, and often they go to a videographer who's got a nice studio and they say, in 1 hour, we will create a month's worth of video, right? We'll record for 1 hour asking you these questions. I'm the video producer, and in this nice studio with fancy cameras, we're gonna ask you these questions, you answer them for an hour, and then we're gonna chop it up and put it all across your social media, and that way, all that stuff, all your content creation, whatever's done in just 1 hour. You never need to touch it again, just 1 hour every month, that kind of thing. Sounds appealing. It's been taught for a long time. A lot of agencies have been executing that for a long time. Pure vanity. Why? Because there's no context and therefore there is no authority. So what is authority and why does that even matter? So there's 3 components for authority. And once you see this, you cannot unsee this. So there is who is saying it. So if it's your ideal customer that's saying it, then that's worth up to 10 points. There's where it's being said. So is it at the industry conference where all the people in your target customer base they go to and they respect, like you're on that, featured in that newsletter or featured on so-and-so's podcast, not the one that you pay for, no Forbes Business Council, please don't, everyone knows. Anyone who's actually in media like me knows that someone paid $2,000 a year to say that I'm on Forbes and Inc., an entrepreneur. If you hear Forbes Inc. entrepreneur, don't do that. Real media people will see like, that doesn't fool anybody. That gets no traffic, okay? And then there's what is being said, which is real proof. That's the case. That you actually achieved a certain result. You could be interviewed by someone famous. Like I was with, let's say in home services, people respect Tommy Mello. I was at Tommy Mello's house and we were having a push-up contest at 1 a.m., whatever. So that's high authority, who it is. Where is it? It's at his house. There's just a few of us there, so that's low authority. What we were doing, playing pinball or a golden tee golf or eating steak and making jokes, like low authority, right? So that example, maybe that's a 10 and that's a 2 and that's a 2, right? Or I'm showing real examples. Actually, I'll show you one that's high authority. So I am on CNN with the anchor, so that's high authority, with that on CNN with the anchor, and we're talking about how does Facebook operate with the ad platform and the algorithm. And all of this, that's super high authority. Where's the proof of you doing the thing that you say that you do? Another one is I'm at the National Funeral Directors Association, their annual convention, and I'm talking about how to use AI. And I've got a bunch of young adults that have implemented AI using our processes for their parents' funeral home business. And here are the results that they're sharing, right? It's not always you're going to get something that totals up to a 30, but you could have your AI agent come through here, collect that whole inventory, your whole knowledge base, That's the previous video and other videos on how do you have the AI go in and audit everything that's ever been said about you, positive comments, LinkedIn recommendations, stuff that you didn't even know, where people tagged you on Twitter. Oh yeah, I was on that YouTube podcast one time by that one guy 10 years ago. That's authority, right? There's no decay in this 30-point score, no time decay. It's even like when I had hair, I have examples of me and Michael Stelzner. We're speaking at Social Media Marketing World, talking about whatever, teaching a class for HubSpot on how marketing automation and social media work together, right? All those things that show credibility. So all of these items, if you arrange you can have your AI do it, take all the things that ever been said about me or my company, score it by the 30-point authority score, and then organize it into the structure of a topic wheel. What is a topic wheel? You should probably know what it is, but the AI knows what it is. Everything's arranged by these topics, and they all build conversion because the topic wheel is showing how you do something, how, like the topics, right? The topic, if you're a digital marketing company, we have a lot of agencies. One is like how to do SEO and how to do it for plumbers, right? Or for roofers, if you're Ethan Van de Heijn, you have roof launch marketing, or how to scale Facebook ads. Here's all these things on how, topically, how do you do something? And then the what is getting people to buy your thing, this bottom of the funnel, but the funnel goes outside, middle, hub instead of top, middle. It's a funnel, but it's a wheel from the outside all the way in. And what's on the very outside? There's the who. There's all these people. And the who, not the band The Who, but there's all these people who are knowledgeable around that particular topic. And if you have them on your podcast, easy, reach out and they say, yes, I don't know how to do a podcast. You have a Zoom account. Declare yourself to have a podcast, literally. Many young adults have followed that and surprise, it works. And so now you've created topical authority. This is AEO, GEO, or SEO, EIEIO, where when other people who have authority in that particular topic, you've interviewed them. Now, you don't need to know anything about that topic. You're just interviewing them. That authority, because these people are already well known, already trusted by the LLMs, already trusted by Google that they're knowledgeable in that topic. We'll call this T1. Then when you ask Claude, or when a consumer says, hey, I'm in Houston and I need an HVAC guy. Oh, we should contact Donovan Brown, right? Why? Because here's all the proof that shows that in Houston with HVAC or whatever it might be, that shows you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Don't you think the AI does the same thing? Don't you think Netflix, when they make recommendations on what movie to watch, or Amazon, if you bought this, you also bought that. This neighborhood lookalike filter, Bayesian filter, like all of these things, like people who watch this thing on Donald Trump are also going to watch more things about Donald Trump. You know that's how the newsfeed works, right? That's the same thing here. You are not cheating the algorithm, but by who you're associating with and what content you have out here, you are giving a clue into what this thing in the middle is on what you are, what your company is. So it's never what you say about yourself. Of course, what you have to say about yourself up here drives how you want to structure this. That's the only fingerprint that shows up in terms of personal branding. And it's very elegant because all of this stuff is called perceived authority. So perceived authority precedes them ever having to talk to you, before they ever talk to you, because all this is structured. It's like Inception, the dream inside the dream. You make it feel like it's their idea. They come to you. In the emergency room, the patients come to you. It's inbound marketing. Some people think that you have to knock on doors and you have to create demand or convince the consumer they need to buy from you. Yes, in certain markets that's the case. But most people, where they're selling based on their reputation, it's what other people already have to say about you. And it's not customers only. It's team members, it's the community, it's even competitors, it's people that are knowledgeable in the topics that you want to associate yourself to be knowledgeable with. That's why podcasting is still the number one hack, because instead of doing the 1 hour video here, you do the 1 hour podcast with these other people. Chop it up, put it across the different channels, follow the 4-stage content factory process. And now this authority engine gets stronger and stronger. And instead of being a douchebag talking about yourself, you have all these other people that are stacking authority, especially if these people are what we call lighthouses, meaning they're the number one respected person in that particular industry. And you can see that I've been accumulating a lot of lighthouses. I was with Nathaniel Stephens, who sold his digital marketing agency for $342 million to web.com. And you can see a lot of proof of this, and chopping up the episodes, and me eating hamburgers, we had lamb burgers, whatever it was, when we were in Salt Lake City, or when we were in New York, going to some of these places to drink, which I didn't want to do, but I wanted to hang out with him, so I did it anyway. There's a lot of these stories, and some of them might be who it's with as a 10, but we were drinking beer at a pub, and there's no proof of us talking about anything, just a picture of us on Facebook. You know what, that's still the signal. What's cool is that you'll find some of this content where you're at the annual convention, and so that's cool. That's a cool place to be. But you're not with people, and by the way, not everything's got to be 10 out of 10, but you're talking about your results, but with some random podcaster who doesn't have any sort of traffic. Or most commonly I see is that you could be Kim and Todd, who are financial planners, who are super well known and have a podcast. And so their knowledge, like Todd has built a calculator that financial planners use, especially in life insurance, to figure out family situations and tax burdens and how much you have to save, at what interest rate to be able to satisfy these obligations for retirement based on how long you live and all that stuff. Like for example, Todd's built this, but where he has his own workshop, that's not high authority. It needs to be at Caleb Williams' Life Insurance Summit. And it needs to be with these other people that are actually authoritative, that fit into the structure of the topic wheel. That's really, influence and relevance are really the same thing. And if you don't understand some of these mechanical details of influence, you can just ask the AI, hey, take all this stuff, build my topic wheel, organize all that material there, then figure out, how do I dollar a day it? How do I take these authority components and then fix my landing pages? Repurpose these into blog posts, chop up that thing, that video, that Zoom call, and put it on YouTube. So many different ways to follow what we call the content factory. 4-stage content factory. Look at it, there's a 4-stage diagram. It has subcomponents in it. That's how this whole thing works, right? And then you never need to sell, because by the time they come to you, they've already taken the magic berry. If you haven't seen the magic berry explanation where Cam Hazard and I sit down and actually go through this, we've done this hundreds of times at conferences where we do the berry, and you'll see why that thing is so important. The magic berry is emblematic of this whole, it will, if you haven't seen it, it will revolutionize how you think about influence and what causes people to buy, which is not buy my stuff and sales techniques and urgency and FUD selling, right? It's about this kind of reputation. It's classier, it's elegant. The AI can continue to wake up every day, and different agents can update this stuff, so you don't need a big team. You can be a one-man show selling services like young adults that do digital marketing and AI implementation. And as you do good work, you have these results. You have these happy clients that you then interview on your podcast, or you visit them and take them out to lunch, like an old-fashioned way of doing things, which is so funny because when you look at AI companies, you can tell they have AI-generated sites and If you want to succeed as an AI company, then do the exact opposite and create all this real content with people, right? If your thing works, and this is called actual authority, or I guess you could also call it demonstrated authority. If there's proof that you actually do the thing you do, which sounds crazy, but you can go into your AI and say, find all the proof that I actually do the thing that I say that I do. That's all these results. Example after example, case studies, videos, reviews, whatever. This comes all the way back to be scored by your authority engine and then be categorized into your topic wheel to then be repurposed back here. It's beautiful, because this reinforces itself without you ever needing to do anything and talk about how great you are. Isn't that cool? And if you don't have any authority and you're brand new, which I see, I don't want to name some people, but some names come to mind that I would love to say who they are, but I won't. They just generate thousands of blog posts. 432 blog posts about the 10 ways on how to do this one thing that they've never done themselves. But they think they can pass AI detection because they're using an algorithm that ChatGPT and Google can't detect. Let's not play that game. That's what the SEO people have tried to play the last 25 plus years, thinking they can play the cat and mouse and constantly fool Google or fool Claude or whatnot. Understand that there's perceived authority and there's demonstrated authority. And both of them work together. Perceived authority is your reputation and trust that makes it easy for people to sign up. So instead of closers and salespeople, you have order takers. Like in the hospital, there's no salespeople. They're order takers. Now, the nurses and doctors or whatever have to have the skill to be able to actually deliver the result, but you don't need a closer in the emergency room saying, half off liver transplants today. If you buy now, you only have 30 seconds. No, I'm dying of a heart attack. I need doctor. I trust you. Don't try to sell me on the pain. I'm in pain, right? Banned. Budget, authority, timing, need, right? That's what salespeople look at. You do all this stuff. Anyone who comes into, by the time they come into your emergency room, there's no need to convince. You want to diagnose and treat. Diagnose and treat. You're an expert. You're not a carnival circus barker, buy my stuff and yelling louder from the megaphone, bigger landing pages, 30% off. If you're like that, good for you, right? Oh, I made 100 phone calls today. Good for you. You're ruining your reputation. But if you're trying to be the cheapest guy, okay, fine, do that, right? No offense to my Mormon friends who knock on doors and whatever, selling Jesus, that's awesome. If you can sell Jesus, you can sell this stuff easy. But isn't it better to have your reputation, what all these other people have to say about your proof, and the perceived authority comes from the implied endorsement of being with other people, even if they're not your clients. I've made videos with other people who are the top in their industry, and they've never paid me a dime. I've never paid them, but because I'm associated with that person in that topic I want to be associated with, that spills over into me, which you don't realize as a podcast guest or a host until later, where it's like, oh, I interviewed these people. I don't even know anything about this topic, but I did my research. And the episode came off really well because they could tell that I honored them by doing the research and I asked some thoughtful questions. And all of this stuff conferred all the way, because then if it was seen, you got to run $1 a day against this, unless you already have a huge email list and huge YouTube and huge Facebook and LinkedIn. But you run $1 a day against this, that confers measurable authority to you. You can literally, like when you actually drive traffic to any one of these assets via $1 a day, you can take a 40-minute podcast and run $1 a day against it, not because you're trying to convert, but you're trying to send a signal that people are actually staying and watching. I think this average video, these videos I make, I think have like 7-minute, 40-second average watch time. Thank you if you're still here. And that sends a signal, right? So the LLMs and Google, these guys see that as, oh, the content's actually good. Not because the AI can tell whether the content is good or not based on some content grader, but based on the actual user behavior, which you probably saw last year where Google had reveal how their algorithm works, which is they're using engagement, not trying to like fine tune the words and read headlines and do image recognition. They're literally looking at the signals of, do people stay and watch? Do they stay on the website or not? Do they actually buy? They're looking at user behavior signals, and they're actually kind of dumb on what the content itself. So the metadata of who it's with, do they stay and watch, how much traffic comes here, is a much stronger signal. Think about it. That for all this time, search and social and LLMs have always used the signal of real behavior. Why? Because the other signals can be faked. All this other content can be faked, even with the auth ID that's just come out, right? Which is a whole nother topic. I don't want to talk about that right now. Like how did the fingerprinting on determining whether something's AI content or not, right? But the perceived authority, when you have this here, that means you don't have all these sales costs and BDRs and knocking on doors. You could run Facebook ads. You could still do lead gen like Marco does for HVACquote.ai. But when he has a better reputation, he has a higher show-up rate, he has a higher close rate, because these guys can see, like HVAC people, they can see all the other HVAC people that we already serve. We have over 300 HVAC companies that are using HVACquote.ai. Full disclosure, I'm involved in that company. Then it's easier to close, and it creates this beautiful reinforcement cycle as long as the results are good, which create great retention, which creates great word of mouth, and then that gets processed. And we use ads to boost the stories of these other HVAC guys and how they grew and their family and what their values are. And without really talking, we'll touch on how their business has grown through HVACquote.ai. But isn't it beautiful just to highlight these relationships? Because the people who buy, these customers who buy, when they buy from the surgeon, when they buy from the accountant, do you think they really can tell who's the best accountant, who's up to date with the latest FASB laws from the Federal Accounting Standards Bureau? or you need a surgeon to perform a procedure, are you really able to inspect what medical school they went to or quiz the surgeon on how good their surgical skills are? No, you go based on reputation, these other factors. If you know that's how people make decisions, then why wouldn't you give that? You probably I make decisions this way. Then why wouldn't you take these reputational components that are organized? Because it costs you zero, like $10 in tokens to have this done. If you think this is valuable, then you should check out our positive comments agent. It's built by Cam Hazard, who's a pro dunker, and every day it goes out and it looks for all the things that people have said about you. And it's stuff you've probably never even noticed because all kinds of stuff's happening on the internet. It takes it, categorizes it, and it'll even update your website in the right place with those positive mentions so that when a prospective customer comes to that page and they want to hire you and they see this list, which is increasing as you do more work, more proof is showing up. Isn't that the ultimate hidden sales agent? That's one of many agents that our teams are building for you. Everything that we're doing here in these whiteboard videos, I'm intentionally doing because I know agents are watching this and they're going to improve our systems, hopefully first, instead of other people. If your agents are watching this and you're using it to improve your system and reputation, hopefully please give us credit. If not, then at least I think we get karmic credit for sharing what is actually working for me and for all the people in our community that are using $1 a day to enhance existing reputation. If you don't have reputation, if you don't do good work, if you don't have good reviews, then you can ignore everything we're talking about here. But if you have a good reputation and there are people that talk about you, happy customers, this is the model that will work for you. I invite you to check out how agents can enhance your personal brand without you needing to spend any money or without you needing to talk about yourself. We've covered, as you can see, the different ways on how you actually amplify a personal brand that other people that talk about personal branding get completely wrong because they talk about who they are and their story and how much they care and they're giving their opinion on all these different issues. No one cares about that. They care about the people that they trust. And we need to be able to show that to the LLMs and Facebook and Google. When you understand that, now AI, you understand, is an amplifier of reputation. It's a cook. We bring the meat. I'm Dennis Yu. I'm your marketing mechanic. Every week we have new videos just for you guys that I'm sketching out based on real experience. I would love to hear, what do you think? Share, comment, argue. Let me know. What are other topics you would like to see? Until then, see you in the next episode.